Episode 3 picks up where the second episode left off with the Countess's yacht being out of control thanks to pizzazz of the mistress, and now both of the boats are about to collide. However, when the captain of the tanker saw it happen, now it's up to the yacht's crew to regain control. As you may have guessed it, they did just that, and not a moment too soon. Also, the good news, Rio had rescued Jim too. And as you may have guessed it, now that the yacht's back in control, thanks to the yacht's crew, that's when Jim was kissed by Rio. But after Rio confessed that he didn't want to hurt Jericho's feelings, he soon walks away. Kimber, who's concerned because the bad news is that the misfits who were responsible got away, for now anyway. She told Countess Devonson not to worry. Once the Holograms win the contest, the Misfits will be humiliated. Sheena, believe it or not, who hooked up with Anthony, he came up with a suggestion to shoot Jim's next video. So he thought, why not in Paris? Of course, Countess Devonson agrees with Anthony. So even Sheena agrees with it. So after the next close call, it's now June the 3rd of 1985. Ashley of the Starlight Girls just told the others the good news that she had earned $30, but she wouldn't tell them where she got it from. While the holograms are busy rehearsing at Starlight Music, Eric told Misfits the bad news that he couldn't afford to take them to Paris, but he has to pay someone else that could go instead. So what better way to do a favor to do this kind of job than with his right-hand guy Zipper, who was sent on his mission to sabotage June's video in Paris. So meanwhile there, while the Twilight in Paris video went on the way it's planned, they didn't know the hologram status is that Zipper, who's Eric's right-hand guy, was also there. Kimber almost told Rio who Jim really was, but then Austin and Shayna had to stop her, so they're asking her, are you out of your mind? That's when Kimber apologized and said Rio has the right to know, even though Shayna agrees, but then tells Kimber it's up to Jericho to decide on what she wants to do. Back with Zipper, who just found a building to do it with, he found the gargoyle and then priced it off. Thanks to Rio, who saw what had happened, the girls were rescued just in time. Asha catches Zipper in the act and said that this is the same guy that burnt the Starlight House. Zipper soon ran off. Back in America, Ashley, who got sick and tired of being ignored, she decided to run away for a while and join the Misfits for a while. That's when at the bar the bartender didn't want her in, so that's when Pizzazz the mistress escorted Ashley in to teach her the rules about being a misfit. So what the misfits are doing is that they're nominating Ashley to be the ordinary misfit. Now that the video is finished with the holograms back in Paris, it's now time for them to leave. Rio got depressed and then walks off. That's when Jerica comes up to ask Asha what happened to Rio. He got depressed, Asha answers. So back in America, it's now June the 4th of 1985. So when the holograms arrived in America, they saw that there are Misfits posters everywhere. So that's when they suggested they should do the same with a little help from their song Getting Down to Business. So that's what they did with a little help from the Starlight Girls on the way. Now the song is ended, Kimber decided to go face to face with Eric in the upstairs office at Starlight Music, telling him that there's no way that the Holograms will win, not if she has anything to do about it. Now, Eric, being manipulative as he is, has to persuade Jericho's sister Kimber into joining his cause, so he asked her that. But before Kimber can answer, that's when she left the upstairs office. But as always, Eric has a plan. Back at the Starlight Mansion, that's when Jericho receives a phone call from Lindsay. Now, Lindsay was the same woman that Jim met at the yacht, and Lindsay just told Jericho the good news that Jim's video is a hit. Then Lindsay told Jericho something even better. She wants to know if Jim can meet up with Lindsay to be interviewed within an hour. So after that phone call, that's when Jericho told her sister that it's just Jim that needs to be interviewed. And let's just say Kimber's not happy about it. And so she told her sister that she's fed up with being Jim's shadow. And so she decides to leave. Jerka tries to run to catch up with Kimber, but she was unsuccessful. Now poor Jerka had this guilt written on her face, like, what have I done? So she decided to call Lindsay back to say, I'm sorry, it has to be everyone or no one. So now here comes a bigger problem after that phone call. Jerka wants to know where can Kimber be, and she could be anywhere. Well, that problem's been solved because she now realizes that since Kimber likes K-Max so much, she has to turn into Jim to talked to the DJ to get Kimber to change her mind. Back with Kimber, speaking of which, was listening to the radio. That's when she heard Jim's voice saying, We were wrong. The group's just not the same without her. Well, that convinces Kimber to change her mind, and so she heads back to the mansion. While there, Jericho now realizes that since Kimber, who had accepted Jim's apology and not a moment too soon, that's when Rio shows up to pick up the girls to be taken to the interview. On the way to the interview, that's when Rio tells Jerka that he too decides to leave, but then Jerka had to convince him otherwise, and so after thinking about it, Rio decided to stay. At the Gabor estate, while the Lindsay Pierce interview was going on TV, they're not happy about it, so they head to the studio to crash the interview, and they listed Ashley of the Starlight Girls to do a favor for them. So after Ashley distracted the guard, it's now up to the mistress to go inside Studio B. So meanwhile there, both the holograms and the mistress were exchanging insults to each other. Well, that did it. Lindsay got fed up with it and it was the final straw. So she told the group to get the mistress out. So on the way out, Possess slapped Lindsay in the face. And to add more insults, she then elbows Rio. As you may have guessed it, that causes Rio to fall backwards, and that's when there's equipment explosions everywhere. Things look bad for Jim, and that's the end of episode 3.